We also share with so many of you in the United Kingdom, in all the countries where the Queen was head of state.
Prince Harry has been left reeling after an unexpected confession from his father, King Charles, about the identity of his real mother. While questions about Harry's paternity have circulated for years, the revelation that his maternity had been wrong all along has completely shattered him. Join us as we uncover the truth behind this extraordinary royal mystery, a royal secret too heavy to share. Prince Harry was born in September 1984, at a time when Princess Diana and Prince Charles were seen as the ideal royal couple by the public. They appeared happy and graceful in public, waving to crowds and fulfilling their royal duties.
Oh, everybody was absolutely thrilled. As soon as the news came out, everybody was beaming from ear to ear, and people were going around shaking hands with each other.
However, behind the scenes, their relationship was not as perfect as it seemed. Now, years later, people are revisiting this period in history and beginning to ask questions about Harry's birth, his parents, and a potential mystery that may have been hidden for many years. In early 1984, before Harry was born, Princess Diana visited the hospital secretly. There were no photos or official comments about the visit. Palace staff only mentioned that she wasn't feeling well. This visit has sparked interest among followers of the royal family. They are now questioning if there was something more going on at that time which was kept hidden from the public. Through time, there have been suggestions that James Hewitt, who had a relationship with Diana, could potentially be Harry's father. However, Hewitt has consistently denied this claim, stating that he did not meet Diana until after Harry was born.
The rumor that set tongues wagging was James Hewitt, Prince Harry's real father. Well, now Hewitt going on camera and opening up to Australia's Channel 7.
There is a possibility that his statement is accurate, and it could lead to a different mystery unrelated to Hewitt. This mystery may not revolve around Harry's paternity, but rather focus on his mother, Diana. Many old documents from the 1980s are currently being examined. It seems like some records around Harry's birth have been changed or swapped out. A previous royal assistant hinted that they stuck to strict guidelines, unless someone important told them otherwise. This comment has raised further worry. Perhaps the true secret is not Harry's father's identity, but rather his mother's. For years, there have been rumors among people who closely follow the royal family about the possibility of a DNA test. Some think that Prince Harry requested a test in the past to find out the truth. Others suggest that a secret test was conducted outside of the official royal locations in the early 2000s. A security officer mentioned that a sealed envelope was delivered to Clarence House, potentially holding the test results. However, it is unclear what happened next. Did Prince Charles open the envelope? Did Harry get to see the results? Or was the envelope hidden to protect not just the reputation of the royal family, but also Harry himself? If it turns out that Charles is Harry's real father, but Diana is not his biological mother, it would completely alter the story of Harry's life and the royal family. It's possible that Charles wrote a private letter years ago not to confirm anything, but to show a deeper feeling, a silent, sorrowful acceptance of a truth he couldn't change. This could have been his way of moving on without disclosing all the pain he felt. With increasing focus on history, the previous silence is causing doubt. What used to be spoken quietly within palace walls is now being openly questioned. However, King Charles remains at the heart of it all, a father, ruler, and possibly the only one who is fully aware of the whole situation. Ultimately, this mystery is not just about records or genetic material. It concerns identity, family, and the burden of a secret that may have been too difficult for anyone to bear alone. But what was secrets about Harry's real mother did the letter contain? The letter that shook the crown. It was hidden for almost 40 years in the royal archives where hardly anyone looked. It was a letter written by King Charles in the 1980s, with faded ink on old paper. It may have seemed unimportant unless you knew what it said. When it was found, it shocked the monarchy. The brief but powerful letter contained one line that changed everything. He will never belong to her because he is not hers to begin with. The words seemed peaceful at first, but they had a profound impact. They did not just express feelings of love, pain, or disappointment. They suggested something more profound, possibly even secretive. Researchers dated the letter to the mid-1980s when Prince Harry was a young child. It was a time when Prince Charles and Princess Diana's marriage was still intact. To the public, everything seemed perfect, but within the palace there was a deafening silence. Now all are wondering, who was Charles referring to in the letter? Some thought it was Diana, but there are doubts. According to some historians, the writing seems too thought out and intentional to be solely about marriage issues. It was not impulsive or emotional, but rather well-planned and sincere, something Charles could not express publicly. The letter was not intended for Diana. It was meant for a lesser-known individual in Charles's inner circle. Some speculate that it could have been a spiritual advisor or a mentor from the church. Others think it may have been someone connected to the royal family who understood the significance of Charles's message. Regardless of who it was, Charles had enough trust in this person to confide in them through writing. What was the true meaning of that one sentence? If it wasn't about Diana, then who was the person being referred to as she? And who was being referred to as he? Various theories have circulated rapidly. One theory that has resurfaced is the idea that Prince Harry might not be Diana's biological child. While this concept seems unlikely initially, the timing of the letter has raised suspicions. Why would Charles write something like that in 1985 or 1986, before his marriage became a public controversy? The concept of a surrogate or a third party involved in keeping a secret arrangement hidden from the public is being revisited. In the past, nobody had any doubts about where Harry came from. However, this new letter is bringing up the possibility that there may be more to the story. If Charles was suggesting that Diana was not Harry's biological mother, it could mean that the history of the royal family will need to be re-examined and possibly rewritten. Then there is the second letter, which was written much later, reportedly in the final years of Queen Elizabeth's reign. It is said to be brief, but very sad. In this letter, Charles writes to Harry not with anger, but with sorrow. He confesses to raising him in the shadows, not in truth. Charles expresses his hope for forgiveness in the future. This one sentence has caused concern in the palace. Legal teams are now searching for any other documents from that period. Meghan and Harry are thinking carefully about their next moves. They have always talked about the importance of truth, but this time, the truth could break the silence forever. Prince William appears calm in public, but there are reports that he is upset in private. If he knew about the situation and did not tell anyone, Harry might feel betrayed instead of supported as a brother. The relationship between the two brothers, which was already weak, could be permanently damaged. The British royal family has faced many challenges throughout history, including wars, betrayals, and even abdications. However, this private and understated letter could potentially lead to the biggest change yet. The image of the royals is extremely important, and if it was based on a hidden secret, the monarchy may never be viewed the same way again. But before we go any deeper, let's take a closer look at who Harry's real mother could be. Could it be someone surprisingly close to the monarchy? Keep watching to find out more. The secret behind Prince Harry's mother. For a long time, people thought Princess Diana was Prince Harry's mother. The official story was that Charles and Diana, who were royalty, had two sons, William and Harry. However, a private letter written by Charles before his troubled marriage to Diana was revealed raised doubts. Allegedly, Charles mentioned in the letter that Harry was not Diana's son. This letter has not been fully clarified, but it has sparked a fascinating question. If Diana is not the mother, then who is? In order to figure out what might have occurred, we need to examine Charles's life prior to marrying Diana. Charles had a number of significant relationships as a young man. Some were romantic, some were complex, but all were significant. Before Diana, Charles was particularly close to various women, particularly those within his social circle who were either from noble families or had ties to the royal family. One of the first people who comes to mind is Anna Wallis. She was confident, graceful, and brave, which were qualities that Charles liked. She went to official events with him and was outspoken. However, their relationship did not last because Anna thought Charles still had feelings for another woman, Camilla. Even though Anna was significant in his life, there is no evidence connecting her to any rumors about a secret child. Lady Jane Wellesley, daughter of a duke, caught the attention of many as a potential match for Charles. Despite being well-mannered and liked by the royal family, she eventually stepped back from the possibility of marrying him, as she did not want the stress of royal obligations. Their time together appeared to be uneventful, but like other aspects of Charles's personal life, some details may have been hidden from the public eye. One of the most talked about women from Charles's past is Lady Dale Tryon. She was one of the few women Charles trusted a lot. She had style, charm, and confidence. Even though she was married to one of Charles's close friends, many believe she and Charles were more than just friends. Dale once mentioned that Charles told her she was the only one who understood him. They spent a lot of time together in private, and Charles would visit her house secretly. Dale had a son in the late 1970s, but rumors suggest her relationship with Charles may have continued afterward. However, amid all these rumors, one name stood out the most: the other woman in the royal story. Camilla Parker Bowles is another woman to think about. She was Charles's first true love, even though she is now known as his second wife. They had a strong connection before they both got married, and even after they tied the knot with other people, their emotional bond never went away. Charles seemed to trust Camilla more than anyone else for many years. Some people who follow the British royal family think that Camilla might be Prince Harry's biological mother. These rumors have persisted for a long time, despite the lack of official proof, because of the timing and the close relationship between Charles and Camilla, even when he was married to Diana. Charles and Diana's marriage began to struggle in the early years as they spent less time together and tensions grew. People could feel the distance between them when Diana was expecting Harry. It was suspected that Charles and Camilla were getting closer again, even though it wasn't talked about openly. Some of those who worked with the royal couple hinted that Charles was relying on Camilla for emotional support more than ever. Some people are skeptical about the timing of Charles and Camilla's rekindled relationship before Harry was born. There are questions about whether Camilla could have been pregnant and had Diana raise the baby to prevent public embarrassment. This plan would have protected both families, prevented a scandal, and maintained the royal family's reputation. Those who believe in this theory suggest that Camilla was always close to Charles, even when Diana was going through tough times. Some think that her influence on royal family decisions may have been greater than people thought. Since she already had children from her previous marriage, any potential pregnancies may have gone unnoticed or easily explained without causing a public scandal. In the past, unusual arrangements have been made in royal history to protect titles, traditions, and reputations. There are certain factors, such as Camilla's close relationship with Charles, the instability of his marriage, and the timing of Diana's pregnancy with Harry, that have led to ongoing speculation. There are rumors circulating about a mysterious woman who is not in the public eye. Some speculate that she may have been a staff member or a woman from a noble family who remained anonymous. This could be why there are no public records or photos of her. To prevent scandal and protect the child and the royal family's reputation, it is believed that Diana may have been asked to raise the child as her own. Diana was a young, beautiful, and beloved figure in the eyes of the public, making her an ideal mother. Harry's appearance adds further intrigue. Many have noted that he doesn't resemble Charles or Diana, with his red hair and distinct facial features standing out among the royals. This could be attributed to Diana's genetics, but it also sparks speculation due to the complexity of genetics. Questions persist about his unique appearance. If Charles thought that Harry was not Diana's biological son, then another person would have joined royal history secretly. This person could have been a past lover, a close friend, or someone kept hidden from the public. This mother would have kept a significant secret, knowing that her child was being raised by another woman in the public eye. However, this wasn't the only speculation surrounding Harry's birth. There are also rumors that a surrogate might have been involved. The hidden truth behind Diana's love for Harry. For a while, some people in the royal family quietly discussed the possibility that Prince Harry was born through a surrogate, but it wasn't widely believed. However, a recently discovered letter has made people rethink this idea. The wording of the letter has caused people to reconsider, and now the idea doesn't seem so far-fetched, it seems plausible. In the early 1980s, Princess Diana had multiple hospital visits that were attributed to stress or personal health problems. However, some insiders claim there were discussions about her fertility among doctors, palace staff, and royal advisors. During this time, Princess Diana and Prince Charles were drifting apart. Despite this, the royal family needed an heir as soon as possible. If there were worries about having a child naturally, and the couple's marriage was already in trouble, would the royal family have considered alternative options? Some people now think a surrogate may have been used. The palace had the authority, the motive, and most importantly, the desire for confidentiality. And if Harry was born through a surrogate, Diana might have been asked to raise him as her child, even though she was not his biological mother. That idea completely alters our perspective on everything. It could clarify why Diana appeared so emotional when talking about Harry.
That was more than a promise. It was a profound personal commitment which defined her whole life.
It could also clarify Harry's sense of not completely belonging. If this theory is accurate, the royal family did not just keep a secret, they constructed decades of history around it. Where did Diana fit in all of this? Was she involved in the secret, or someone who kept it hidden? Her lack of speaking now seems less like a puzzle and more like a statement. She was known for her caring nature and strong love for her children. But regarding Harry, some professionals are now questioning, was Diana his biological mother, or did she choose to be his mother? Throughout her life, Diana subtly hinted at her concerns in her correspondence and public conversations. In one instance, she expressed her ongoing worry for Harry and her desire to shield him from harm. While many interpreted this as a reference to the media, it is possible that she was alluding to a different, more private matter known only to her and Charles. If she had been presented with the opportunity to care for a child who was not her biological offspring, would she have accepted the responsibility? Perhaps not immediately, but within the constraints of royal expectations, options are frequently constrained. However, there was never any question about her love for Harry. One employee at the palace recalled how she looked after him. It seemed like her affection for him went beyond the typical motherly love. It was almost like she was shielding him from an unknown threat. If Diana knew the truth and kept it to herself until she died, there may be more hidden secrets in the past than we realized. And at the heart of it all is a mother's love. Powerful, unspoken, and possibly the only truth that truly counts. But what was the palace reaction to this? Do you think they will let the world know the truth or cover it up? What the palace hoped would stay hidden. The palace is calm, but there is a significant event occurring in private. Prince Harry is seeking information, but no responses are being given. Buckingham Palace is not saying anything, just quiet, closed doors, and anxious expressions. Inside, people are concerned. The worry is not just about a single letter, but the possibility of additional letters. These letters might have been intended for Princess Diana, Prince William, or Harry. If more letters are discovered, it could have a significant impact on the royal family, affecting both their emotions and legal status. A specific team has been discreetly brought back to handle a crisis, similar to the one that occurred after Harry and Meghan's interview with Oprah. Their main tasks now are to prevent any further leaks, soothe the media, and locate the original letters before anyone else. Lawyers are currently examining whether the royal family can prevent the release of the letters under the Official Secrets Act. British media organizations have received warnings. However, reporters and investigators outside of the UK are actively looking into the matter as they are not subject to the same restrictions. And little by little, the truth is starting to come to light. A staff member at the palace whispered that the biggest concern is not knowing the truth, but rather losing control over it. This is more than just about Harry now. It involves something more profound that could potentially alter the future of the monarchy. The secret that shaped a family. King Charles has always appeared calm and composed to the world. He has gracefully followed royal customs and rules. However, beneath his polished exterior, there is a man carrying a personal and painful burden unknown to many. A recently discovered letter exposes a part of his past that is not just historical, but also deeply emotional. the letter reveals a quiet grief that Charles has been holding on to for years. This revelation is not a scandal, but a heartbreaking sorrow. The words in the letter do not convey anger. Instead, they seem like a confession made out of struggle rather than cruelty. One particular line that stands out is that he will never truly belong to her because he was never hers to begin with. This single sentence holds a lot of significance. People have long questioned the distant relationship between Charles and Prince Harry.
For you and your family?
There's only so much that I can say because of the redaction process and the national security matters.
Despite public smiles, there always seemed to be something missing between them. Many attributed this distance to a generational gap, or their royal duties keeping them apart. However, the truth may be more intricate than that. Some employees at the palace observed that Charles appeared to be uncertain around Harry frequently. He was not unfriendly, but he did not express strong affection either. It seemed like he desired to be closer to Harry, but there was something stopping him. It's possible that he was dealing with a secret that he couldn't bring himself to confess. If he doubted Harry's paternity or questioned the simplicity of their bond, maybe his emotional barrier served as a means of self-protection for both himself and Harry. Now that he is king, Charles is more noticeable than before. However, the secret he carries may weigh on him even more heavily than the crown. The burden of keeping this secret may have influenced his relationship with his son, affecting how he raised him, ruled, and loved. First, let's talk about Prince William. As the future king, he was brought up with a specific aim, to be a leader. He grasped the rules from a young age, stuck to tradition, and knew what was expected of him. However, now that the letter has been uncovered, people are starting to question, what was William aware of, and for how much time? William and Harry's relationship has always appeared somewhat distant.
I started feeling things that I've never felt before, and I got very sad and very down about...
Although they are brothers, they have distinct personalities. Harry has suggested that William always followed the royal rules without question. Could this strict adherence to protocol be concealing a deeper secret? Perhaps Charles told William the truth when he reached a certain age, causing him to change. Some close to the family believe that William became more reserved and serious after certain discussions with his father. It appeared as though he was burdened with something weightier than before. If William knew the truth, why did not he tell Harry? Was it out of loyalty to their father or fear of causing family conflict? Perhaps he thought keeping the secret would protect the monarchy. Whatever the reasons, his silence now speaks volumes. Many feel betrayed by his lack of communication, not just as a brother, but in the trust they once had. Queen Elizabeth II was recognized for her quiet demeanor and deep understanding. She carried the burden of keeping secrets for over 70 years, providing stability to the royal family through her calm resolve. If a letter made its way through the palace, it's likely that the Queen was aware of its contents. She had access to all kinds of information like letters, documents, and medical records, but she chose not to reveal any of it to the public. Some think she tried to deal with the situation in private. Her close associates claim she always managed to stay in front of any challenges. Maybe that's why, in her last days, she made more effort to make peace with Harry. She met him for the last time in 2022. Observers described it as a heartfelt and moving encounter. However, looking back now, that meeting seems to have a different significance. Was it more than just a familial moment? Could it have been a subtle farewell infused with deeper implications? A final act from a grandmother who bore mysteries that only she comprehended completely? The royal family is currently dealing with a difficult situation. This situation involves complex emotions, lack of communication, and hidden realities. It is not about embarrassment, but rather about the sadness that can develop when people do not speak honestly with each other. But how did Harry feel about all of this? And do you think Meghan will still stand by him after everything? A silent search for truth. When the letter became public, it caused serious distress not only for the royal family, but also for Harry and Meghan. Meghan was extremely upset, not only because of what it said about Diana, but also because it resonated with Harry's long-held emotions. Meghan had supported Harry through challenges from the royal family and public scrutiny, but this situation felt unique and personal since it touched on Harry's true identity. Insiders report that Meghan is encouraging Harry to dig deeper. She recommends that he talk to legal professionals, seek advice from historians, and possibly write another book solely about identity. In California, sources say they have started contacting DNA experts. Meghan is seeking answers not only for Harry but also for their kids. They are creating a life centered on truth rather than following tradition. Meghan is likely thinking about ways for Harry to share his journey with the world. This could include a documentary, podcast, or book. Rather than focusing on leaving royalty, the story would explore Harry's true origins. While conducting a quiet investigation, Harry notices that one person is staying silent. This raises a disturbing question. Could Harry have always been aware that something was wrong? Harry used to refer to himself as the spare, which may have been a reflection of more than just his royal status.
Within the family, as such, there's the spare and the heir. My brother being the heir and me being the spare, and so...
He often appeared to be distant or isolated. In his memoir, he opened up about feeling lonely, even when surrounded by others. Times that should have been comforting instead felt empty. Friends noted that Harry smiled frequently, but it seemed like he was searching for something. Teachers recalled him asking deep and introspective questions about life and himself. Initially, people thought it was just normal teenage behavior, but now it seems like it could be something more serious. Meghan entered his life and showed a deep emotional connection. She did not just love him, but also paid attention to him. Friends mentioned that she encouraged him to ask challenging questions and believed he had always been seeking something more. Now he is searching for answers that go beyond superficial things like titles and family backgrounds. If Harry's sense of not fitting in comes from a deeper, possibly biological source, then everything shifts. Maybe the sadness people witnessed wasn't just defiance, but a more profound emotion. And if this truth has been hidden until now, the silence surrounding it is more powerful than any words. A question that could change everything. If Princess Diana wasn't Prince Harry's biological mother, it would have a profound effect beyond just causing familial sadness. It could potentially shake up the royal family to its foundation. In a society where positions, duties, and the succession to the throne are determined by genetics, any uncertainty could have significant implications. Harry is currently fifth in line to the throne, with his children Archie and Lilibet next in line. However, if doubts arise about his connection to Diana, it could raise questions about whether Harry and his children are considered genuine royals. There is a possibility that they could lose their position, titles, and the respect that comes with being born into the royal family. Some experts believe it is possible that King Charles started reclaiming certain titles years ago to protect the royal family from potential issues rather than out of anger. This concept also alters our perspective on the decisions concerning Archie and Lilibet. Some people viewed the lack of royal titles at birth as a punishment, but it might have been a precautionary measure to prevent complications in the future if the truth came out. In the royal world, family ancestry is crucial. Any interruption, no matter how small, is significant. For Harry, it's not just about losing a title, it's about love, identity, and whether his father prioritized staying quiet over being honest. Now that more people know about this question, it is evident that Prince Harry's story has always been complex and may always remain so. What do you think about King Charles's revelation regarding Harry's real mother? Do you believe Princess Diana only had one biological child? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Before you go, click on the video displayed on your screen.